Welcome back, folks. This is Sarcasm Speaks. Jared and Bob coming at you. We just came off of the AFC Championship game. We're now in the middle of the NFC Champ. Well, at the very beginning of the NFC Championship game. Dude, the Cincinnati Bengals are going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they sure are.
That is wild. I don't think anybody predicted that. That's not a Bengals fan. So let me rephrase. I don't think anybody predicted that at like the beginning of the season. Like when people were talking about when people were talking about like, oh yeah, who's going to win the Super Bowl this year? It was all, Green Bay, Tampa Bay, Kansas City.
Yeah, and the narrative with Cincinnati was we don't know how Burrow's going to be coming back.
Right.
They didn't address the offensive line.
Right.
Actually, before the season, Chase couldn't catch a ball.
Yeah. Yeah, remember that? Couldn't see the white lines on the ball.
So, yeah, it wasn't good. But, watch them in the playoffs. Burrow's the real deal.
Yeah, he is legit.
So I think the offensive line, I know they gave up the sacks they gave up to Tennessee. I don't know the sack numbers from today. I was a little distracted watching the game and I fell asleep. So I don't know how they did today, but Tennessee had a very, very good pass rush. Kansas City had a trash pass rush. So the other thing is their offensive line play. There's no metric for that. Oh, actually, I guess there is a metric for this. But they run the ball okay, right? Aren't they like
Cincinnati?
Middle of the road? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like yards per carry?
Yeah.
I guess you could say the offensive line is there, but
they're probably somewhere around like 17th-ish.
All right, yeah. So right in the I think they're right in the middle. I don't think they're like 24th, but so the offensive line is just bad in pass protection. So if they don't bring the heat, whatever. So they're okay in in run protection, which is kind of how they clinched the game today. It was just mixing over and over. So now when we're looking at it, like before the season it was shit, but as the season goes, they were knocking off good teams. Their pass defense isn't very good, right? If I'm thinking, I don't know the stats off the top of my head. I don't have them in front of me. I don't have them off. I don't want to like we talked about last week with Ian. I don't want to say it's like, oh, they have a bad pass defense, and it's like actually it's an average pass defense.
Yeah.
But they're built in a way where their defensive line situationally, now there is no statistic for this, situationally they get after the quarterback, which is what we saw at the end of this game,
right? Which
is something that they probably don't do in the first half of games. They don't send the house every single fucking play. They wait until crunch time.
Right.
Hendrickson and Hubbard are both pretty good. I don't know who's up the middle, but one of the guys is fucking gigantic.
Yeah, DJ Reader, I think, is in there.
Is that who it is? Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, so he's playing for oh God, didn't someone get hurt? Fuck.
Probably.
I don't remember. I can't remember who got hurt. I think someone got hurt. So now Reader's in. Or Reader's in full time. He was probably in the rotation. So I mean, it's not gonna be a particularly favorable matchup in the Super Bowl for the Cincinnati Bengals.
No.
With either squad.
Nope.
So we'll see. We'll see what the numbers are. And I don't want to say that I'm going to take the winner of this game to win, but that's my first impression. And I know it's gonna be so stupid because this is going to come out with the game results. So we'll know.
Yeah.
But we're doing it before the game results. My first impression is that Cincinnati is going to be Cincinnati isn't going to have a good matchup against whoever's out there. because both of these teams in the NFC get after the quarterback. Both of them defend the pass reasonably well.
Yep.
And then I forget how Cincinnati is defensively. They're pretty good at one thing and not very good at the other. I don't know which one is which.
So I just pulled up my article that I wrote for Ultimate Sports Networks. You can check me out over there.
They paying you yet?
Nope, haven't been paid. But whatever.
So read the articles for him.
Yeah.
And let him know why his articles suck, so we can get better. So we can get better at writing them.
So maybe I can get paid somewhere. So
it's not always about money.
What do you want to know? Cincinnati's defense, their
pass defense.
They rank 12th in yards per completion.
Yards per completion. Okay.
Yeah. So
they're okay. And then what are they in defensive yards per carry?
20th.
Okay. So they're mediocre against the pass, yards per pass, in yards per carry. And then they're below average against the run. So I don't know. I still, so this is the thing with the Rams, and I guess we'll see. I still remember the Rams being a team that can run the ball when they want to, but this year it's not that at all.
Yeah, so
they're not running the ball well.
The Rams yards per carry rank 28th.
Yeah, so they're not running it well. So
yeah,
actually, so I guess if San Francisco wins this game, the edge, some edges would go to San Francisco pass rush, San Francisco running on offense.
Yeah, San Francisco's yards per carry is only 17th. Now, I don't know how much of that has to do with injuries at running back this year, right? Like Eli Mitchell was out. Andy's a rookie.
Yeah.
They didn't really have a
now
running back.
That's so you're right. They don't, but they do run the ball a lot. They do run the ball frequently. Yeah. So I would actually like to see the splits, if they were going against a marginal run defense, how do they do?
Yeah. I mean, for what it's worth, San Francisco ranks first in yards per completion.
Yeah, I know that.
So,
it's fucking so weird.
Yeah.
Because they don't get so that actually, it's not that weird because they run the ball such a high percentage. Hey, sorry, you guys are gonna hear me yelling at Leo. He's down here with me, but he's digging at my putting mat right now. So they're number one in yards per completion, but they're not good in passing yards per game. They're very average, which means they don't pass the ball very frequently. So, which means they run the ball a lot. Now their yards per carry is probably a function of how often. I don't know what their run percentage is. It's got to be probably top 5, top 7. So naturally, by running the ball more, you're gonna have a lower yards per carry because it's just a bigger divisor.
Right.
But if there's, hey, get the fuck out of there. He's pawing in the cup. So if there's a bigger divisor, then the yards per carry is going to come down a little bit. So even though it says 17th, maybe it's effectiveness. Maybe they're more like 12th. I don't know. I'm not saying they shouldn't go from 17th to 1 based on a bigger divisor, but
so I also don't know the exact numbers either, right? So they could be averaging 4.3 yards per carry, which is good enough for 17th, but then
4.4 yards per carry is 5 teams.
Could be. And then it could be 4.6 would be good enough for, top 10 or top 5, I don't know the exact numbers there.
Yeah. Not important, but either way, it's on first thought, both of these NFC teams probably have the advantage.
Yeah. No, I would definitely agree with that. And I think the look ahead line is gonna is going to show that tonight when it comes out.
I bet you could find a look ahead right now, or I bet you there were projected lines that came out
For like each scenario,
like last week for all 4 scenarios. And I know the Bengals will be dogs.
Yeah.
To either, I believe it's to either team. I don't even know. I would look back, but I don't even know who would have put that out.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, both of these NFC teams, I think, are more complete teams. There's no real holes anywhere. You know what I mean? Like the offensive defensive line is very good for both of these teams. They run the ball okay.
Apparently the Rams don't
great.
run it well. So we'll see. We'll see how the Rams do, because apparently they don't run it well. So
yeah, well, it's weird. I mean, so passing could skew this as well, but the Rams are ranked second in yards per play. So it's weird that they're 28th in yards per carry, second in yards per completion, and then second in yards per play. So it's like, are they really skewed that high towards yards per completion? Like, does passing really make up? Like, are they really so much better than everybody but San Francisco? Because it's fun. San Francisco's ranked first, LA is ranked second.
yeah.
So it's like, but then LA is ranked second in yards per play, and San Francisco's ranked third. So it's like, it's weird.
Yeah, it would have to be. We would probably have to pull up like, what is the decimal point? Right.
Yeah. They could be like that yards per carry number again, right? Where like, if San Francisco averages, again, we're making shit up, like 4.4 yards per carry, and LA averages 4.2. Well, now they're 28th. Like I don't know the numbers, but it's just weird. It's interesting. I think both of these NFC teams will, rightfully so, be the favorite going in. Burrow, it's gonna be up to Burrow, right? It's gonna be very similar. Now, I know there's a lot of shit that flies around, especially in this region, when it comes to Patriots and Tom Brady and all that shit. But Joe Burrow is gonna have to pull a Tom Brady.
Man, Stafford just got picked off on the fucking goal line. That's so bad.
I saw it. That's the future. Mine's behind. I just saw it. So like those years where Brady didn't have a great offensive line and he had to kind of like piece it together. Trying to think. Was that 2011? When the O-line, what was the year Scarnecchia retired? It was just 1 year.
Could have been 15.
15?
Because they won in 14.
Yeah.
And then 15, they lost in Denver.
Yeah.
In the AFC Championship.
Because I remember the offensive line was really bad that year. And that's why, obviously, he came back. He only retired for 1 year and then came back.
And then they must have won 16, went in 17.
Yeah. Yeah, 16 would have been
Super Bowl.
Falcons. 17 was the Eagles. And then 18 was the Rams. So, I don't know. Like I said, it's going to be up to Burrow. Burrow's going to have to pull it off and win because his offensive line isn't good. And we saw that today. Kansas City doesn't have a great pass rush, or they're not known for their pass rush. And they were in the backfield all the fucking time. Like Burrow was being disrupted a lot, especially towards the end of the game. There are a couple plays like he pulled an Eli Manning and like he should have been sacked. Like the guy grabbed his ankle, but he like ripped his foot away and like didn't go down. So
yeah, I was gonna say I fell asleep, but I know there were a couple of those.
Yeah,
where it was like he did not get sacked on this play. He was borderline wrapped up.
Yeah. So that's your intro Sarcasm speaks on football. I'll have to see numbers and everything when it comes out to actually see what I'm going to bet on. Is he biting you?
Oh yeah.
So another thing to follow up on. We talked, not the last episode because that was with Ian. The one before, we talked about the UK and Ireland dropping all their COVID stuff. Well, the other day, Denmark now joined the crew. So Denmark has lifted all their COVID restrictions. So we are certainly trending that way, right?
Well, I see like globally we're trending that way, but then it's like still in this fucking country, you're still hearing the same fucking shit. Like, I don't fucking get it. I don't know. It's like, I know I don't understand people or psychology enough to get it, but like, why do people still do this to themselves? I just don't fucking get it.
Yeah,
like,
it's
like, like people are still dwelling on the numbers in New York. It's like what do you want? Fuck. Like what do you people want here? Like, not for nothing, like New York should break every record for everything. As we saw in sports betting, it took New Jersey 25 months to break $1 billion, and they did it in 9 days. Like, New York is not a fucking fair comparison to like anything else.
Yeah.
Maybe California, but
yeah, I would say New York and LA are the two. Like, they're just two massive cities.
Yeah, and it's like there's there's 1 billion people. Like, yeah, and it's like the rules should not change, but like I don't know, people still they still want this shit, and it's like we still need masks. It's like we're still doing this.
Yeah,
like we're still doing like I know like the at home tests are just going out now, and I'm like we're still doing this shit.
Yeah, we're still doing this dumb fucking shit.
And it's like it just cannot die. Like it just cannot die. And then like you hear that the European countries are getting rid of all federally mandated. I think it's all federally mandated rules.
Right.
And they probably leave it up to whatever. And again, I know we were trying to figure this out. Like England probably isn't big enough to actually have states or provinces or whatever.
Yeah.
And I assume Denmark probably isn't that much different, nor is Ireland. But then it's like you hear that like some towns in the state are going back to mask mandates, and it's like, how are we still doing like Mansfield put in a mask mandate?
Yeah.
Like, I think it starts tomorrow.
Yeah, it's literally, it's backwards logic.
And that's the only thing that like, because on one hand, those countries dropping all federal or parliamentary federally kingdom restrictions should be a good thing. But then I'm like sitting here and I'm looking at home in fucking 6 minutes left of the fucking gym. They just put in a mask mandate again where we used to live. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why? What is happening?
Yeah. Nothing. It's all appearance, right? Like if they make it's optics. Like if they make it appear and sound that it's bad, like if they keep talking about it and keep being like, oh no, we got to put a mandate back, or up, we got to do this, or up, we got to do this. It makes people assume that it's a lot worse than it really is.
I just don't understand what like the town of Mansfield has to gain.
Yeah, I mean, it
doesn't make any
sense. It comes
sense.
down to who's calling the shots, right? Like if you have some crazy lefty,
but they don't. They have a board of selectmen or whatever.
Yeah, well, I mean, if they have a couple lefties on there, you know what I mean? Like it's possible too.
But like I know I'm not being very specific, but like the point I was trying to make, while this fucking guy tries to fucking chew the couch, I'm gonna have to run upstairs and grab him a couple toys. Here, he can play with golf balls. Like, so the town of Mansfield, there's no hospital. Right. There's probably no federal funding. It probably would have to come from the state. But like, what is there? If there's nothing monetary, what is there to gain with this? Like, I just don't. I really, really don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, if Boston wants to, like prolong it as long as they could, well, Boston's a major city. There's probably some funding in line. They have hospitals that they want people to continue to go to so that they can stay at capacities, while telling us it's a big problem that the hospitals are overwhelmed.
Right.
Like, at least there's a financial gain to Boston doing it and continuing the narrative. But I just don't I don't understand what a small town like Mansfield has to gain, or like Sharon.
Yeah.
Be it Sharon's probably more because people are bitching.
Yeah. Yeah. I could definitely see that. Or maybe that's what it is in Mansfield too. Maybe there's enough people in Mansfield that were just bitching, like showing up to like town hall meetings or whatever the fuck they're called.
It's just fucking crazy. It really is just fucking nuts.
So I saw this. I sent this to Sexy Chris the other day. This is from businessinsider.com. I gotta wait. It's
those the same. Is that the same people that
are feuding with
Portnoy?
Yeah,
has this vendetta against.
Yeah. All right. Well, my phone doesn't want to pull this up right now.
I'd just like to point out that if anyone's watching on YouTube, this is going to be fucking hysterical because you saw me fighting with Leo. And now you see my camera moving all over the place. Like it's that fucking movie that was supposed to be cool, but wasn't because it was supposed to be like hand shot, whatever. He's just like fucking just mayhem. That's all he's doing. He's bumping into my shit, squeezing in places. Now he's barking.
All right. I got it now. So
he didn't even get his bet in earlier.
Yeah.
He never confirmed his bet.
So he's still sitting at 2-0.
Yeah, he never confirmed it because I was trying to get him to. I was trying to make sure, and he wouldn't confirm. All right, I gotta run upstairs and get him a toy.
All right, I'll filibuster, and then I'll come back to this thing. So let's see. What can I ramble about? I'll go on and talk about Bob's not really gonna give a shit about this, but. Amy Schneider was on Jeopardy. She's now the second highest or second longest tenured winner and second highest grossing money winner too, I also believe. She lost finally this week. She was a transgender woman, and we started out, me and Amy were watching it, and it started out we were like, this is kind of weird, like whatever. Like we've been watching it probably, I don't know, maybe about almost a month at this point. And she finally lost this week to some fucking loser who ended up losing the next day. He was like a librarian from Chicago, but I wanted to throw that out there. It was a fun run. It started out, like I said, we were like, this is kind of weird. Like she's kind of awkward. Obviously she's a transgender woman. Which is like, you're like, at first we were like, is that a dude? And then I had to like Google it and like look it up. And I was like, yep, nope, she's for sure transgender. But then you start rooting for her after a while because she does really well and she's super smart. Like I never really watched Jeopardy Joe, I think, and Ken Jennings, like when they were going on their whole thing. So I've never personally watched like a long-term like Jeopardy winner consistently. So that was cool, but she lost. So she's done. Again, lost to some fucking loser who lost the next night. And that sucks. But yeah, I was throwing that out there.
So I picked up enough. I would have had no input on that anyway.
Yeah. I was just
I didn't hear about it. I didn't see it. I know you are. It's like I didn't see it, didn't hear it, whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Filibuster, because usually like a lot of these topics we have at least need some kind of back and forth. That didn't.
Yeah.
Credit to you. Credit to you on the filibuster.
It only took me what 330 something episodes to get good at this, I guess. And I use the term good very loosely. So back to regularly scheduled programming. this article from Business Insider, I'll read the headline, says Boston Trade Group says restaurants are losing as much as $15,000 per week because customers are put off by the new vaccine rules. So the new vaccine rule, like you have to show a vaccine card or proof of vaccine to get into any business really in Boston at this point. Surprisingly, hasn't really been met with open arms. And because of that, like I just said, businesses are losing up to $15,000 per week, which now, I wouldn't call myself a successful business owner. I would barely even call myself a business owner. I don't have any clients yet, but you're a business owner, have been for quite some time now. It's probably not good to lose $15,000 a week, right? Like, would you say that's good or bad?
If I lost $15,000 in 1 week, I would just shut the doors. That's all it would take, 1 week.
Yeah. Now, I don't know. I'm assuming, again, I don't know specifics of this number. I'm assuming it's an aggregate number. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure. Like, I'm sure it's not an average, like the average business is losing $15,000 a week, or maybe they are. I don't know what numbers
that would be over.
I don't know what numbers are for restaurants in Boston right now. I don't know. Because what do they pull in a week?
That would be 95,000 in a month.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Do these places make $1 million?
No, 60.
It would be 60,000.
65. 4.33.
Yeah.
That's the average month. How many weeks?
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know what they make. Do they make hundreds of thousands in a month? Do they make $1 million? Do they make millions? I'm sure some restaurants probably do. Very little, I would imagine. I know running a restaurant is literally like the hardest fucking thing in the world. So you on top of that, add on top of that you're losing $15,000 a week due to the city's vaccine mandate. The Massachusetts Restaurant Association, so the MRA, has written a complaint to new Boston Mayor Michelle Wu. The new requirement to show proof of vaccination took effect on January 15th. So this is a statement from the MRA. The damage that has already occurred statewide in the restaurant industry in relation to the COVID-19 pandemic cannot be undone, but the future of our restaurants, small businesses, and employment are reliant on the choices that our leaders make today. So the MRA is fighting this, right? They're trying to get some changes happening. And I think this is what needs to happen, right? So like I said, I sent this to Sexy Chris the other day, and we were going back and forth about it too. And this is how you make change, right? You essentially vote with your dollar. So if the city of Boston says, if you want to come anywhere in here, you have to show proof of a vaccine. Well, guess what? You just don't go to Boston. Don't go to the restaurant. Like, stop spending your money in those places, in those areas, and things will happen. And lo and behold, they're now down $15,000 per week since this thing has gone into effect. And now the restaurant owners are like, yo, what the fuck? So like people like me and you, right? Like just the layperson, we can't really do much. But if through proxy we can, if that makes sense. Like us as regular individuals don't have a ton of power. But by not spending money at a business, the business is hurting. The business owners and the Massachusetts Restaurant Association has way more power. So now that the MRA is going to the mayor of Boston being like, hey, you got to change this shit because we're losing money. Now things can get changed. Like, does that make sense? Like what I'm trying to say there? Like as individuals, we don't have a ton of say, but as a collective group, we do, right?
Yeah. And I know a vaccine mandate just got struck down in Worcester like last week.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So the worst thing here, right? So the MRA is asking to reevaluate the mandate. The worst part about this, in my opinion, and I said this to Chris, was Wu's response was, this is a direct quote: as community positivity goes down, as we see vaccination rates go up, we want to get back to a situation at some point where people are fully free to go about their lives. You want to get back to this situation.
Just fucking do it.
Isn't like 80 something % of people vaccinated in Massachusetts? Like, I think Massachusetts is one of the highest states in the country.
Yeah,
for vaccination rates.
I think it's over 90% has had one shot, and I think it over 75% has had two.
Yeah. So what are we doing? Like 10% of people now have not had have not had any shots. You're going to continue holding everything up because of 10% of people.
Never mind, that demographic is Massachusetts, not Boston specifically.
Right.
That was probably very representative, but I would actually argue that the percentage could be higher, maybe closer to 77, 80, because there's a lot of people outside of Boston that aren't so liberal about everything.
Correct. Yes. So it's like, and then the other thing, this is another direct quote, is the hope is that we will continue seeing progress with our vaccination rates going up. Again, we're already at 90%.
Dude, you're not going to see them go up that much.
So the hope is we will continue seeing progress with our vaccination rates going up. And that will mean that we should be able to adjust our policies down the line. So you're literally saying, until more people go and get vaccinated, we'll reevaluate once more people are vaccinated. Like, what? 90% of people are already back. How many more people do you want to get vaccinated before you reevaluate your policy? Is it 91%? Is it 92%?
There's
Is
not
it 99%?
that can.
You're like,
so right here, Massachusetts, as of January 29th, 94.8% of the population has one dose. Wow. 76.4% is fully vaccinated.
Yeah.
How much fucking higher would you like it to get?
Yeah.
Honestly, how much higher do you want it to get? Like,
yeah,
100? You want 100%?
Yeah. Well, that ain't gonna happen.
What's like does 80% to it? I don't know. I've heard that number thrown around a couple times. Like another 4%.
Yeah. So we're gonna make or break this over 4%.
Or theoretically, give it 3 weeks and you should get your 4%, because it should come from that 94% of the one shot people.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
it's comical.
It's a fucking clown show, right? And it's all about optics at this point, right? I think that's what it is really about. Like, look, we care. We're doing everything we can to keep people safe. We're making people show a vaccine card. Meanwhile, it's actually hurting business, and no one's really doing anything to change it in government. And people are like, nah, fuck this. We're not doing this.
I would also like to do this today. Today's the 30th. All right, so I need to go a couple days. Won't be able to get data for today. Okay, so January 28th of last year.
Yep.
The 7-day average of deaths, 63. Now, this is pre-vaccine time, right?
Right. This was January 2021.
Yep. 7-day average, 63.
Deaths in
Massachusetts. January 29th. Nope, don't want to use that. January 27th, 2022. 75% of Massachusetts is vaccinated. 94%, at least one dose. 78 deaths, 7-day average. So please tell me that all the stuff you're doing is working.
Yeah. Yep.
Please tell me it is.
Yeah.
Because it's fucking not.
It's not. It's really not. It's literally just for show. It's just for show.
Yeah, and all you're doing is hurting business. So
yeah,
but at the same time, I know in Boston. So again, I know there's like special agents or what. Get the fuck out of there. I brought 3 toys down. Nope, got to chew the couch. He doesn't ever chew the couch. Just right now.
Well, he wants attention.
He'll get attention when I just shove this thing in his face.
Yeah. What were you saying?
Oh no, but it's like, so I know they have like the special agents going around to like ensure vaccine compliance, whatever the fuck. But I know some of the places just aren't doing it.
Yeah, that's fair too. That is an option. Like these places are just like, yeah, fuck it, whatever. I don't care.
Well, because here's the other thing with it all. No one's coming to bail out the businesses again right now.
Right.
Like, as cute as it was, there was some stuff in place last year.
Right.
There's nothing in place this time. So if someone came to me and was like, oh, you got to check vaccine cards, I'll say, no, I'm not. Just not doing it.
Yeah.
Why? I go, well, it doesn't matter because about fucking 103% of the people here have gotten a shot. But I'm like, not for nothing. Like, dude, I'm not open to like the general public. Like, I have kids. Like, it isn't up to them whether they get vaccinated or not. Right. And ain't no one coming to help me pay the rent this time. They barely came the first time.
What do you mean? The government saves everybody.
Yeah, it saves everyone.
Yeah, the government is good. We need it. We need a bigger government.
No, they're telling businesses that you need to turn people away, and in return, they're not giving them anything. So if you want to tell people what to do, then you need to fix their problems. So you cover my fucking payroll.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
honestly,
you send a check to my landlord.
I don't think that's
it's like, oh no, well, we can't do that. I go, then don't tell me what to do.
Right. Exactly. I don't
know why the fuck
that's
like
ridiculous.
I don't know why the fuck that's such a hard concept to understand. Like, if the state isn't paying, then don't tell me what to do. Outside of like, zoning and coding, and like, I understand, like, it's a fire hazard to have 1,000 people in my building when the code is fucking 75.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I understand that, but like, don't tell me you have to turn away business if you're not gonna then, like, say I like, let's just pretend it was like 10% of my population. I'm like, all right, well, then you need to give me the money for 10% of their fucking memberships.
Right.
I'm like, well, then I could do it. But until then, fuck you.
Exactly. And
again, no one's coming to help this time. So fuck off. Yeah.
So I think that's what's going on right now with the MRA, with them going to the mayor in Boston. Like this Boston mayor is a fucking asshat already. She's a fucking dumb bitch.
No, she sucks.
We were joking around, outside of the podcast about her. I forget who it was.
Her chief of staff.
Yeah. Oh, it was her chief of staff said that plowing snow is misogynistic.
It's sexist.
Sexist. Yeah. Sorry. It's sexist. The way we plow streets is sexist.
Yeah. So her argument is that you should plow sidewalks, bike lanes, and side roads before main roads, because women are more likely to need to use those avenues to get to where they need to go, because they're probably going to be walking with children wherever they go. And there was some study in Sweden that showed it was sexist. Okay. So my first thoughts are, one, this is retarded.
Yes.
Second, we don't live in fucking Sweden.
Correct.
We live in fucking Massachusetts specifically. Yeah. And I know she's speaking of Boston specifically. Dude, I'm sure there is a great number of people riding bikes and walking in Sweden compared to Massachusetts and Boston.
Yeah.
Never mind if it's that bad out and it's snowing, where the fuck are you walking with the kids? They ain't going to school if it's that bad.
And where are you riding the bike in the snow, dude? Like, what kind of person rides a fucking bike in the snow?
What did Logan get? 23.5 inches?
Yeah.
24?
23.8, something like that.
Who's riding a bike in fucking 2 feet of snow?
Yeah.
And if you are riding a bike in 2 feet of snow, you deserve to fall on your fucking ass and fucking spill every 5 seconds. That is fucking absurd.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was a weekend. Like, it's, oh my God, it's so bad. And then never mind the idea, like the reason you plow the fucking main roads first is so that emergency vehicles can get around.
Yes.
Because even with 2 feet of snow, again, 2 feet of snow, the idea isn't that, some asshole is going to go to the grocery store.
Right.
That's really not why they plow the main roads. It's not so you can go out for like fucking go to get a coffee.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so that emergency vehicles can get around to where they need to go.
Yeah, because guess what? Guess what doesn't matter? Guess what doesn't give a shit about 2 feet of snow?
Heart attacks.
People that have heart attacks, houses that catch on fire. Yeah, people that fall. Literally anything.
Any emergency situation.
Any an allergic reaction.
To anything.
None of that really gives a shit that there's 2 feet of snow. So if your house is on fire, I would imagine you would probably like it if the roads were plowed so that the fire truck could get to your fucking house and put the fire out, right?
I mean, unless you're doing it for the insurance money.
Yeah. Or like if you're having a heart attack, like maybe you would like it if the ambulance was able to get to your house.
Yeah, again, unless you're just trying to die.
Yeah. But no, we can't plow main roads because it's sexist.
Because first of all, isn't it inherently sexist to say that women are less likely to be driving?
That's what I thought when I first read it.
Did a quick Google because this actually pissed me off because this is so fucking stupid. In 2019, female drivers in the United States outnumbered male drivers.
Cool.
We don't live in fucking Sweden.
Yeah.
Oh, study in Sweden. Yeah, did fucking Greta Van Fleet or whatever the fuck her name is do it?
Yeah, Greta Thunberg.
Yeah.
Toon Bear. Yeah. How dare you?
I'm like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah.
We don't live in fucking Sweden.
Yeah, that's such a fucking stupid thing. Like, oh yeah, look, this study came out of this country that's literally
where we don't live.
The size of fucking Connecticut.
Yeah.
So we need to, it's whatever, 6,000 miles away and the size of Connecticut. So
culturally very different.
Very different. Very homogenous culture in Sweden.
In Sweden, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a higher percentage of male drivers than female drivers. Maybe that's a thing.
Yeah.
Maybe it's generally accepted that you walk to school and it's generally accepted that the males work and the women stay home. I don't know. I don't fucking live in Sweden. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Tell you one thing, if Saudi Arabia got snow, they really wouldn't be fucking calling it sexist. Fucking assure you that.
Yeah. I love when people cite like the Scandinavian countries all the time for shit because they talk about like whatever it is, like socialism or any of this other shit. But then when you actually look into it, you're like, that's not really what's going on. Or they talk about like, another one was like, oh, look, the Scandinavian countries, they do XYZ. Like, there's hardly any racism over there or sexism. And it's like, well, have you looked at the demographics of that country? Because it's literally like 96% white. So it's probably, pretty hard to be racist when 96% of your country looks the same. You know what I mean? Or it's harder to find the instances, right, of racism when your country is predominantly white.
Yeah, I can see that.
So it's like, what the fuck are you guys doing? You guys, they're just people like to just find
Morons.
random shit all the time. I'm
Morons.
actually interested. Demographics of Sweden. I'm interested to see.
It's going to be absurd.
What this is. So Sweden, the population of Sweden in 2021 was just under 10.5 million people. So that is,
we have 6 million living in Massachusetts.
Probably like New England. Like let's just say roughly all of New England is the same amount of people that lives in Sweden. It is let me see, give me this shit. Ethnicity. Swedes. Ethnic groups. No, that's not what I want. That's weird.
There's probably no column for it because it's 100% white.
Yeah. Population density. No, they don't put it on, it's not on Wikipedia. Population statistics, maybe? Age structure, median range, birth rate, population growth rate. They don't have like race breakdown. So, I mean, under the ethnicity tab on Wikipedia, it says the majority of the population are ethnic Swedes or people who can trace most of their ethnicity back to Sweden at least 12 generations. So most people that live in Sweden have been there for at least 12 generations.
Yeah, they never leave.
Yeah. There are no official statistics on ethnicity, but according to Statistics Sweden, around 2 million inhabitants in Sweden were born in another country. Of those, more than half are Swedish citizens. The most common countries of origin were Syria, Finland, Iraq, Poland, Iran, and Somalia. Interesting. So, yeah, I mean, again, they're all white. Everyone's white in Sweden. Yep. So you can fuck right off with that bullshit. All right, let's do this. So I have two things. They'll kind of like blend together. So the first thing is kind of similar to this, since we pulled the race card. One of the Supreme Court justices just announced he was retiring, and the way this all went down was hilarious. I read a little bit more about it. So this guy, Justice Breyer, is retiring. Apparently, because again, I read more about this whole debacle. Apparently, people had been pressuring him to retire for like months now because he's the oldest member of the Supreme Court. I think he's like 83 years old. He was appointed by Bill Clinton. So he's one of the three, traditional liberals, right? Or he's one of the three that were appointed by a Democratic president, I guess, as you should say. So people were pressuring him to retire because he, despite being, so the other thing too is Supreme Court justices are not supposed to have political affiliations, right? So he was appointed by a Democratic president. He's not a Democrat. So Justice Breyer had come out in the past and said that he was not in favor of packing the court, which is what the Democrats wanted to do because they were mad Trump got to pick too many fucking Supreme Court justices. So they were like, oh, so, if we win, we'll just change the number of justices from 9 to 12 and we'll add 3 Democrats. So it's more. And it's like, it's fucking stupid. It's childish, really. And Breyer was one of the people that was like, no, I wouldn't support that. That's dumb. So Democrats didn't like him for that. And then there was another thing too. I think they just wanted him to retire so that Biden could appoint someone, really, is what it came down to.
Yeah, they probably want it to be fair and equal.
Yeah. So, well, this gets to my whole point. Biden came out and announced the other day that he is committed to appointing a Black woman to replace Breyer. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me back it up a little bit first. I wasn't finished with that thought. So people were pressuring Breyer, being like, he should retire. He's old. He doesn't agree with us. Whatever. Fuck him. Get him out. He should retire. The announcement came out. It was like a Tom Brady move. The announcement came out in the news that he was going to retire before he even made the announcement himself. So people were like, oh yeah, Breyer's going to retire. Like CNN was running it and all this stuff. And he hadn't come out and actually said anything. So then finally Breyer came out like a day later and was like, yeah, I'm going to announce that I'm retiring. So it was like one of those things. It's a very weird situation. Like there was a lot of pressure on him to retire. And so then he actually did announce it. And then, like I just said, Biden announced that he is going to appoint a Black woman to replace him. So my issue with this situation is you're just appointing someone based off of their gender and race. Now, I'm going to try and explain this better. So not that we're super popular anyway, and not that anyone would fucking cancel me because I don't even have a job, but I'll get to that too. But my problem is this. You can't just come out and say, I'm going to hire a Black woman for arguably the most important position in the government, right? Like the executive branch changes theoretically every 4 years, at maximum every 8 years. The congressional seats change every now and then, right? I mean, you got some guys like Biden who's been in the Senate for 50 fucking years, and Pelosi who's been in the House for 50 fucking years. Like there is some issues there, but the changeover is a lot more frequent, right? In the executive and the legislative branches. The Supreme Court, the judicial branch, you're appointed for life. Like you either die or you retire from the job. Like that's it. Like once you're appointed, like you're in. So, and the whole construct of the Supreme Court is to really be the checks and balances, right? Because we learn about that in middle school. Government, 3 branches of government is checks and balances. The executive branch can't do one thing without this and all that. The Supreme Court is the one that's like, hey, you can't do that. Like that's their job, is to be like, nope, that's against the Constitution. You can't pass that law. Or nope, you can't do that. You can't have that bill because that bill is against the Constitution. Or, you know what I mean? Like that's their job. So I would argue that the Supreme Court is the most important of the 3 branches of government. Again, for longevity, and then also like their job, right? Their job is to be like, to make sure that the laws get passed are actually good laws and are allowed to be passed. So very important job, right? And you just reduced it down to a gender and a race. My thing is this. You should want the best person for the job. Now, could the best person for the job be a Black woman? Absolutely, 100%. But if you narrow your search to only Black women, what happens if there's a Indian male? Or let's keep going. What if there's an Indian lesbian female that is a phenomenal judge that would be an amazing addition to the Supreme Court? You're not going to talk to her. You're not going to interview her. You're not going to sit her down. You know what I mean? Like, What if there was a black gay male who was a phenomenal judge, but you're not going to talk to him? You're not going to interview him because he's not a black female. You know what I mean? Like, see what I'm getting at is like, you can't just say, oh, I'm going to hire a black woman because we need more black women on the court. We need more representation. We need to be diverse. We need to be diverse, equitable, and inclusive. I fucking hate those fucking words so much. Oh, we got to be diverse, equitable, and inclusive. No, you get the best person for the job. The best person. That's it. That's who it is. Like, this is a very important government position. You want the best person for the job. I don't give a fuck what the person looks like and what they have between their legs. That doesn't matter to me. I don't give a fuck who they're attracted to. Like, you could appoint a gay trans woman who is like, I don't know, find me the most intersectional personality. I don't care. Whatever. I don't care. I just want them to be the best person for the job. You know what I mean? Is he biting your foot? You look like you're in pain.
Oh yeah, he is.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I agree with you too. It's like you should be bringing everybody in for the fucking process. But my only thing with politics is the best person doesn't actually get the job. And I know the Supreme Court is the least political of anything, but it's still political. Like in the broad or the general sense, it's still political. So the best person probably like whoever, and I don't even know how the fuck you would rate this. I'm sure there are better judges in the United States who are not on the Supreme Court. It's not performance based.
Right. Yeah, no, that's fair.
Who you know and timing and all that crap.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he can. So I like my thing is just don't say anything, you fucking dumb fuck. Yeah. Like if your plan is to get a black woman on there, that's fine. Hire, bring in, I don't know, like, do you even interview or do you call people? Like,
yeah, I don't know what the interview process looks like. Like, I don't know if that's something you can apply for.
I have no idea, but
like, do people like throw their names in the ring, or is it like, no, you're called, like they call you, you don't call them?
Yeah, but it's like, go through your process, like with everyone. Cause then it's like, not for nothing, the woke side of that, they're going to look at it like, well, you didn't even ask an Asian person.
Yeah.
You didn't even ask a gay person.
Right.
You didn't even ask a transgender person.
Right.
You didn't even give them a chance.
Right.
And then never mind, the conservative side is going to do their thing, but.
Right. Yeah. Like, just keep your mouth shut. You know what I mean? Like, let the people bitch and complain about it afterwards. Like, if you go through the hiring process and you want to hire a black female, and that is indeed who you end up hiring, let the people like bitch and complain and like conspire about it afterwards. Like, don't tell them up front that that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because now you're an idiot. Like, you look like a complete fucking moron, which he is anyway, but.
Never mind. Like, could the Supreme Court turn around and do something about that?
I don't know.
Could they rule that that's something?
I don't know.
I don't know. Like, discriminatory. I don't know. Like, could they rule something like that? And then if they do or did, now you can't have your black woman because it's like, well, okay, well, I'll interview everybody. And it's like, you still end up on that person. And it's like, no, you dumb fuck.
Yeah. I don't know. That's interesting. That's an interesting angle. I didn't even think about that. Like I said, it just pisses me off, right? Because you're doing shit based off of DEI, like the diversity, equitable, and inclusive. Like, fuck off. Like, that's so bullshit. Like, just pick the best person for the job. And I don't care what they look like, who they are. Again, who they're attracted to means nothing to me. Just want them to do a good job. That's it. Just do a good job. Be the best judge you can. And that goes for literally anything. Literally anything. Like, it doesn't matter what job it is. Like, I don't want my dental hygienist, right? Because we all know the dental hygienists are the ones that really do all the shit. The dentists don't do shit.
They don't do anything.
Like when you go to the dentist, you spend, if you're there for 45 minutes, you spend 42 minutes with the dental hygienist. And the last 3 minutes are with the dentist. All they do is put those funny glasses on, look at you, be like, yep, class 1, yep, class 2 canine, yep, okay, cool. This looks good, that looks good. Any pain, any questions? Nope. All right, cool. See you in 6 months. That's literally all the dentists do.
The best part about it too is if like outside of like a filling, because I think the dentist actually does the filling. But like if you need like oral surgery, well, you go to an oral surgeon.
Yep.
If you need your wisdom teeth, you go to somebody else. I can't think of what it's called.
Yeah. If you need braces,
you go to an orthodontist.
An orthodontist. Yeah.
Like maybe a root canal, but even then you still might have to go to whoever does like the actual like surgery. So it's like all a dentist really does is check up and repairs.
Yes. Yep.
They don't actually clean. They don't actually operate.
Right.
What would you say you do here?
So shout out to all my dental hygienists that listen to the show. I don't know if we have any, but I don't want to
say the same about most nurses too. Cause
no,
like when you go for a physical, the nurse is the one who collects all the info, and then the doctor comes in, fucking grabs I would say grabs your junk, tells you to fucking look left and cough, and then you move on with your life.
Yeah. So what I'm getting at here is I don't want my dental hygienist to be hired because they fit some fucking DEI qualification. I want the person that's going to be cleaning my teeth to be really good at their fucking job, because I've had some pretty bad experiences at the dentist previously. And it's like, that's not good. Like when the person's fucking scraping away at your teeth and fucking jabbing your gums, and all of a sudden, like, you leave looking like you got into a fight with fucking Mike Tyson because your mouth is full of blood. Like, that's not a fun time. I don't want the person to be hired as a dental hygienist because, again, they fit some DEI qualification. I want my dental hygienist to be a really good fucking dental hygienist. And that goes, again, across the board with everything. And I'm sure most people probably feel that way. But when it comes to something like out of touch, really, like a Supreme Court justice, right? Like it's an out of touch position. Like we don't interact with that position day to day. People are like, oh no, it needs to be diverse. It needs to be diverse, equitable, and inclusive. Because I guarantee you, if you sat down the same fucking jackasses that are like, oh no, of course you have to use DEI and all this. All right, cool. Let's see. I'm going to find this random black gay woman. She's now going to clean your teeth. She actually was about to get kicked out of dental school, but that doesn't matter because she fits the profile, right? She's going to clean your teeth now.
Never mind.
You cool with that? Someone would be like, no, of course not. Why would I want that? It's like, yeah, no shit. Cause you're a fucking moron.
So I'm just going to throw out some hypothetical scenarios too. So he says he wants a black woman. Now, the first black woman he goes to and is like, all right, what do you think about the nomination? She very well could say, no, you're only picking me because I'm a black woman.
Yeah.
Now, at the same time, if it's been their lifelong goal to be, Supreme Court justice, they might just take it. Like, I don't want to.
Yeah, it's a big dick move. Saying like no to Supreme Court justice nomination.
You got to think like some of these, well, actually anyone who's up for Supreme Court justice, usually they're old, usually they're already rich, they're already successful. Really, it's an ego thing.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it will or won't, and we'll never know, but he could go to 3 people and they could say, fuck you, you're only picking me because I'm a black woman. And we would never know the difference. Now, maybe we're on the 4th or 5th option.
Right.
And then if, it like, again, I know I'm painting a very specific situation. If that did happen, what does that say about the person who took the position?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I agree with Leo.
He is literally sitting and looking at the golf bag. Or maybe he's heckling the Rams kicker for missing that kick.
Yeah.
But it's okay. You never confirmed your bet. He was going to take the Rams, but he never confirmed with me.
So to continue piling on Biden, because it's fun, right? And he's just a fucking asshat. We are probably going to end up going to war with Russia.
No, we're not.
Because
no one wants that.
The shit that's going on in the Ukraine.
No one wants war with Russia.
I don't think he gives a shit what the people want.
People in government don't want a war with Russia.
We'll see. So this was another shout out to.
I would say we could do a gentleman's
L's.
wager on this if you want to put a time frame on it.
Yeah, I mean, so let me get through the whole thing and then we'll go through there.
Nah.
So another shout out to Defiant L's on Twitter. They pulled up a tweet from Biden in like September or October that said, for the first time in over 20 years, the United States is no longer in a war or something like that. And then there was a tweet from recently that was like, we're prepared to use whatever measures we need if Russia invades the Ukraine or something like that. It's just hilarious. It's like, you're such a fucking cockbag. So Russia has fucked with the Ukraine a little bit. They went and they put a bunch of their troops down on the Ukrainian border. They're like threatening to go in and take it. So for anyone that doesn't know, the Ukraine used to be part of the Soviet Union. And then obviously when the Soviet Union broke up, it was, created as a country and that whole thing. But now Russia's like, no, fuck that. We want it back. So they, like I said, they sent a bunch of their military troops down towards the border of Ukraine. And there's rumors that they're going to try and invade during the fucking Winter Olympics. That's absolutely hilarious. But so here's what's going on, right? Russia sends troops to the border. Ukraine is like, all right, this is literally like the Ukrainian government is like, all right, like we know they're there. Let's not panic. Like, let's not do anything drastic. Meanwhile, the United States is like, well, we're going to have to take measures. Imagine that, right? The government of the Ukraine, who is threatened to actually get invaded, is like, let's pump the brakes here. Like, we know that they're there, but like, let's talk about this. The United States, which again is some 6,000 miles away, is like, well, if Russia invades Ukraine, we're going to do something about it. Okay, you're an asshole because it's literally on the other side of the fucking globe, but whatever. And also has nothing to do with us, but sure, whatever. You can do what you will, I guess. But so they're going on this, and Biden's like, oh, I talked to Putin, whatever. Putin doesn't want a war with me, all this shit. Whereas I see stuff like that and I imagine Putin just laughs, sitting there like, this fucking old man, what a fucking cunt. So as a result of all of this, the United States has ordered that their diplomats leave the country of Ukraine and either come back home or go somewhere else in Europe or whatever. Like the United States is pulling out all of their fucking people, all of their government people, because they're, kind of, I use quotes here, but they're prepping for war, essentially, right? Every single country in Europe is like, we don't need to do that. Like all of the European countries are like, yeah, we're not pulling out any of our diplomats because we don't think there's going to be a war. Like we think we're probably fine. But here in the United States, the narrative is, oh my God, we're going to go to war with Russia. Russia's going to invade. We're going to go over. We have to protect the Ukraine because I guess that's what we do. We're going to do all this. But then all the European countries are like, yeah, it's probably not that bad. It's not going to get that to that point. And the Ukraine itself is like, again, not making a huge deal out of it. but it's the United States that's making a huge deal. The only people that are talking as if there's going to be a war is the United States. No one, like, not again, I sound like a broken record at this point. Not the Ukraine, not the European countries that border the area. No one that's in that vicinity of the world is talking as if there's going to be a war.
But
people in the United States are.
What does
6,000
Sweden
miles
think?
away. Yeah, we should go to we should.
What's the Swedish
study.
model say about the Ukraine?
Yeah, what does the Swedish study say? So you get all this shit, right? It's classic fucking United States overreacting, being like, we're going to be the world police. We're going to pull the people out. If Russia steps in, we're going to fucking fire back. And again, meanwhile, everywhere else in the world is like, nah, it's probably not going to get bad. So I think it's just going to be, they want war, right? I think what that tells me is they want war. And that's your Lockheed Martins, your Raytheons, your Halliburtons. That's all of these, military industrial complex, if you will. That's like, nope, we got to pump it up. We got to get everybody ready to go to war. We got to talk about it. We got to threaten. We have to protect the world, right? We're the world police. That's what we do. We're the good guys. We have to get involved. We have to save the Ukraine. Where I think that's what the narrative is trying to be set up for. And I think that we're probably going to end up sending troops over there. They already came out and told 6,000 troops to be on standby just in case. And it's like, okay, what are we doing? So it's just a fucking joke. Right? Like, we don't need to be there. No one wants to be there. I agree with you. The people do not want, if you poll the citizens of the United States, I guarantee you more than 50% would say, no, we don't want to go to war with Russia over the Ukraine, right? Like, that's stupid. Now, would it be fucked up if Russia just invades Ukraine and just takes them over? Yeah, of course it would. But that doesn't really affect us, right? It doesn't have any direct effect on this country. So why the fuck do we get involved? I mean, there's countries in Africa that are at war all the time. Do we go over there and try and intervene? We do kill some rulers occasionally, allegedly, through the CIA, and we fuck around with shit like that. But it shouldn't matter. It's just dumb. It's dumb. And that's why I think there's eventually going to be some, if not war, there's going to be some sort of hot conflict, right? Because I think technically, in order to have a war, there needs to be a declaration from Congress. That might not happen, but I think there is going to be some sort of hot conflict at some point.
I might have to lock him out of the room. He will not stop fucking biting me. He has not fucking done this. I've had him since Thursday, just me and him.
Yeah.
And he hasn't done this shit once. I'm about to fucking declare war on Leo.
Yeah.
Or he declared war on me, one or the other.
Yeah, I guess.
Because trying to offer a truce and there is no truce.
Doesn't care. He chose chaos today.
Yeah, he chose dickhead today.
Yeah.
Now my whole operation is tilting over.
Jesus.
Fuck me. Yeah, I don't think Biden has the balls to go to war with Russia. Because although it won't be much of a war, because Russia, what is Russia really going to do? They have no money,
right?
They have no money for a war, but they don't give a fuck. They'll fucking go into complete and utter poverty and disarray just to go to war. I feel like that seems like to be the Russian way.
That is a very Russian thing, yeah.
We have no money to go to war. Yeah, fuck it, we're going anyway because we're Russia.
And fuck it, who cares? Well, the other thing too, everyone is saying you're going to start a war with Russia in the wintertime. Do you realize what you're doing?
Well, stick to the air, I guess.
Yeah, it's you ever hear of Napoleon? How did that work out for him? He was crushing everything and everyone until it got cold. And then he got absolutely fucking murdered.
I would like to hope we've advanced a little bit since the Napoleon days.
Yeah.
Plus, wasn't he French?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
He's
the
a bitch.
French to win a war. Okay.
Yeah, that doesn't happen. So it's interesting. It's something to watch, something to pay attention to. But he's really going at you,
dude. This is nuts.
Yeah. Do you want to let's wrap this up? I think we're at that time. I think it's been about an hour.
Yeah, we can wrap this up. Oh my god.
Gonna have to wrap him up.
Fuck me. So I watched Eternals the other day, and truth be told, the woke stuff, I like forgot about it. Fuck.
Yeah, he got you good there. I saw that one.
Fuck me. So I noticed it because you told me of it, but I don't know. I didn't really feel like it took away too much, but it was definitely a strange movie. And it's on Disney Plus now. So if you want to go watch it, you can go watch it. If you don't want me to spoil it, that's fine. You can hang up and listen.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I'll hang up and listen.
God damn it. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely a movie that's like gonna set up a lot. Oh, you bastard. It's gonna set up a lot of things, but yeah, I mean, all it did was really just introduce some stuff. And like, if the Eternals is supposed to be this thing, you lost a bunch of them already, like before they even started.
Yeah.
Like, you lost Sprite, Icarus, Ajax. Did anyone else die or give up? Athena? No. Did she die? No, she's still there.
Gilgamesh,
like, start with all these people, and it's like they're fucking half gone now.
Yeah. There's like 4 of them left.
And then it's like, okay, so I guess the Asian one, I don't even know the name.
Cersei.
Like, she's going to be like the character going forward, and you've just introduced potentially what might be the compilation that requires everyone to show up, like whether it's Avengers or something different.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, I mean, I guess it probably will take everyone to fight against that thing, whoever the man in the sky is.
Yeah. The Celestial.
Yeah. And then obviously it opens the door for some other shit too. But yeah, I mean, so overall, it's like that shit didn't bother me, but at the same time, it's like not a lot happened. It felt a lot like a DC movie, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, it did. Now that you say that, wow, that's really interesting. It did feel like a DC movie. That's a great analysis.
Like, yeah, I don't know. It's just like, because it was like they had the names, they had the base. It's like, oh, this is gonna be cool because like these people are like super powerful and super weird, whatever. And it's like, not really.
Yeah, not that cool.
But I'm sure it'll build the base for something else, and it'll build off itself because they would have made the movie better if it needed to stand alone. Which, never mind, I don't think anything stands alone anymore.
Right. Well, yeah, that's the big thing now. Is like you can't just have one thing. Like you can't just have one movie or one season of something anymore. Everything's got to be an anthology. So,
which I'm okay with.
Yeah. But it also at the same time, it's like some things would be fine as like a one-off season, or like a movie. Wasn't it what was it? Was it The Punisher? Or what? There was one of the things of the Defenders where like the second or the third season got like goofy, and it was like, you probably shouldn't have done that. Probably could have ended it after 2 seasons.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It was something along with the Defenders, but all right. So my final thought is I'll go with a relatively quick one. I alluded to it earlier. I quit LA Fitness. If you're sitting there being like, oh, dude, I didn't even know you worked there. Yeah, I worked there for 2 days. I spent a total of 18 hours there in 2 days. And I was like, yeah, fuck this. I quit. I'm out. It was a terrible job. Obviously, you know the ins and outs because I've talked to you through the whole thing. But my job was literally just a sales position. I only had to sell personal training packages. That was it. The whole function of my job was calling people and texting them and getting them to sit down with me and sign up for a personal training package that costs anywhere between $200 to $700 roughly a month for a 12-month contract. So I'm asking these people to sign up for contracts in the realm of like $3,000 to $7,000 for the year, which they don't want to do, right? They don't want to do that. It's an LA Fitness too, like whatever. So the trainers that I got to know in the 2 days that I was there, not good trainers. Like one of them said, I don't know how anyone works out without creatine. It's a waste of time.
Yeah.
So that's cool. You're a personal trainer, and you're saying that. That same kid did not know what the 5-3-1 program is, which if you're not in the fitness world, I wouldn't expect you to know what that is. But if you are in the fitness world, like that is literally the most basic strength training protocol there is. Outside of like maybe Texas 5x5, like 5-3-1 is super easy. Like there's a lot of them that are pretty easy and basic, but like 5-3-1 is pretty straightforward. And he didn't know what it was. So there was that. A different trainer, I overheard him talking to one of his clients who works a corporate job that he needs to eat 6 meals a day. Really?
Very, very realistic.
Yeah, really need to eat 6 meals a day because, you have to make sure that you provide your body fuel at the right moments throughout the day. And, you break down whatever he was saying. And I was like, wow, this is bad. So not good trainers. I didn't believe a fucking anything that I was selling. So I was like, fuck this. I'm out of here. I quit. 2 days was enough for me. So it was short-lived.
He hardly knew ye.
Yeah. And it was one of those, like I talked to Bill going through it too. And he even said like, yeah, man, it sounded like you just didn't want this job from the beginning. And I was like, yeah, I didn't. I just took it because I needed a job. And then come to find out, like they dick you around like through the whole process. Like they told me it was full-time with benefits. And then I get hired and they're like, oh, well, your benefits don't kick in until 90 days. And I'm like, oh, sick. So then I was talking to you and you were like, I don't know, how bad is it? Like how badly do you want the benefits or something? And I was like, not 90 days worth of this shit. So I said, fuck it. And I'm out. Fuck that place. That place sucked. I don't know how anybody could work there. Well, I mean, I do know, not to hop on my fucking high horse, but that's a place for people that are at the beginning of their career in the fitness world, right? Or like you're just in the sales job. Like you just do sales, like, cause they also sold it to me. Like my position title was the assistant director of personal training. And they sold me this whole bill of goods. Like, oh yeah, you're in charge of the PT department. Like you do all this stuff. No, like once I got hired, I was literally like, the function of my job was to sign people up for packages. So not quite a bait and switch. But I got. I would say I got. I would also say was desperate at the time, being like, oh, dude, I just need a job. I need a job. How bad could this be? The answer is very fucking bad. So I'm not there anymore, obviously. So yeah, that's that. I think that's going to do it for us. So thank you for watching. If you're on YouTube, make sure you click this like button, subscribe, rate and review, wherever you get podcasts, wherever you're listening, all that fun stuff. You can rate us now on Spotify. So give us 5 stars over there. Big thank you to mybookie.com. Use a promo code sarcasmpod at mybookie.com to double your first deposit up to $1,000. Super Bowl is coming up. You're going to want to bet on the Super Bowl. So use our promo code sarcasmpod. Again, double your first deposit up to $1,000. Speaking of the Super Bowl, maybe you're going to host something and you're going to have food involved. Well, you're going to want to go to grillyourassoff.com. Use our promo code, same promo code, sarcasmpod, for 15% off your entire order. You can get the world's best seasonings and get cool t-shirts, hats, mugs, meat thermometers, tongs, all the accoutrements you want. They have barbecue sauces, pickles, and they got a bunch of shit. So if you're getting ready, maybe you want to make a bunch of chicken wings, get your seasoning from grillyourassoff.com. Again, promo code sarcasmpod. Get 15% off your entire order over there. I would love those guys. I use them all the time. Almost every single time I cook, I use something from grillyourassoff.com. So you can get us on Instagram at Sarcasm Speaks Pod. We're on Twitter at Sarcasm_speaks. Facebook page is Sarcasm Speaks. I do want to say thanks, shout out again to Ian McMillan from the Bacon Bets podcast, who was on with us last time. I listened to his episode after he was on with us, and he did give us a shout out. So if you're here watching, listening, and you're from the you're a friend of Ian, then welcome. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and hopefully we're not too stupid for you. So until next time, good night, everybody.